What is up, everybody? This is a special with these four knuckleheads right here. We are talking John Cena in his final year. This is the last time now.
For real.
And everybody go around the horn. And Michael?
Ooh, okay. So for some of my matches that I picked, well, I will say this because there's so many people that I want to see him face again. There are so many people that he hasn't faced. But if I had to pick one that I did put on my list, just because I think the promos would be cool, the man has such psychology, and I think it would be very interesting to see the dynamic. I'm going to go with John Cena versus Karrion Kross as one of my picks. So John Cena, Karrion Kross.
That was one of my picks as well. I think the promos alone would be great. The vignettes they can do, the build up for that match, I think would be spectacular.
I absolutely concur. I mean, when you look at a guy like Karrion Kross, who we talked about the promos and the matches and just those doomsday Saitos, the chokes that he does, the forearm smashes, mixed with John Cena and just that overall like villainess that freaking Karrion Kross is, and then you got the ultimate babyface that is John Cena. There's that good and evil, there's that protagonist antagonist vibes, but also at the end of the day too, it's a very compelling storyline. And when you have a guy that's the mixture of Jake the Snake Roberts and Sean O'Hare all wrapped into one, mixed with John Cena, the squeaky clean babyface, there I mentioned squeaky clean, it fits, man. But yeah, Robert and I are both on the same page with Karrion Kross. Daniel, go ahead and name yours.
Did you mention squeaky clean, Mike?
I did mention squeaky clean.
Fantastic.
Squeaky squeak. Yeah. Daniel, go ahead.
I'm going to go with the guy who, like you said, promos I think would be absolutely insane. But at the end of the day, and I'm going to give it away right here, he would dog walk Cena. I'm talking, of course, of the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
Also one of my picks.
Okay. I love you, Solo.
I love you, Solo.
I love you, Solo.
Moses, you go.
Little bass in your voice.
Give me one, Moses. Give me one.
Okay, so we're talking about promos. We're talking about like the whole, I guess, athletic. John Cena is not a giant athletic guy, but we talk about promos, and the thing that kept coming to me is who's wacky. I know that's a weird one, and you immediately go to R-Truth, but I think of like Montez Ford. And there was always been the factor of him having like this massive like singles run. That's a great fucking a stepping stool to move up in the world, to have a win over John Cena. But again, we talk about entertaining. It'll be an entertaining match because John can carry anyone anywhere, and especially a guy with an athletic prowess as Montez Ford. But again, the promos, the comedy, sheer comedy, gut busting, if you will, that we would get from it would be over the top.
I like your style.
God damn, I didn't even think about that. That would be
wow. You know what? That was a really good one, man.
He's on the top.
He wasn't even on my list. You know what?
That's wasn't even on my list either. Props, Mo. Props.
I think
I like that.
I think okay. So the direction I went with the bottom of my list, I figured I had to pick Uncle Howdy only for the reason that he had already wrestled Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And we know what Bray meant to John. We know that John and Bray had that Firefly Funhouse, and they already had a few matches even prior to that. So that's where I would love to hear Uncle Howdy, just him and John go back and forth, and just either talk about Bray, see how emotional they can get with it. I think even if it's just a one-off match, I would be perfectly fine with it.
That was we were talking to Nicola this afternoon, and that was actually one of her picks.
Yep.
We were kind of talking about the idea of a Firefly Funhouse match part 2, and just the way they can tie the first one together and kind of tell this whole brand new story with Uncle Howdy, which I think would have been pretty cool.
I think even with that, like, you could even make it the whole Wyatt 6 against Cena.
Oh yeah,
I think if you look at it, I mean, for all the ties with Luke Harper, that's another name that he's wrestled before, and that could be somebody else that can tie into this too. So I think that's, as we look at it as a whole, as we look at that just that particular wrestler, and we'll just say Uncle Howdy. Yeah, I like the idea for a Firefly Funhouse Part 2, and then just it could be live. Now we could actually have the live version of it, and it be something completely off the wall.
I think with the trajectory of their characters too, as well, where Bo Dallas, when he's coming and doing Bo Leave, and then he's a part of the Miztourage, the social outcasts, if you will. His trajectory arc and where he is also paying homage to his brother, like you mentioned, being Bray. You have those moments come up of like him being with Bray, just the history. You go over that once more. And Eric Rowan, like you mentioned, Joe Gacy, who's in the new crop of what we get to see with the Wyatt Six. And of course, Nikki Cross being her spookiest of spooks, if you will. There are so many things that really go into a John Cena Uncle Howdy match, which we talk about matches that go into. I got to give my next one because I mentioned Karrion Kross. We mentioned promos because this is probably going to be a lot of the dichotomy of this very episode. Another person I picked for promos on my next one, I got to do it. He's a younger man, and he's on the come up, if you will, and he don't miss. That's right. He is him, John Cena versus Carmelo Hayes.
I had that one too.
Another one of my picks.
Another one for sure.
There's something about Carmelo Hayes when you really look at it. I mean, from his vast and his fast ascent onto the main roster, former NXT champion, North American champion, cruiserweight champion. The man's been getting gold and he don't miss. You know what I'm saying? He flies high, no lie. You know this, dare I say, straight up ballin'. We have John Cena, Carmelo Hayes, and John Cena being that old school, that old head, if you will, the word life, basic thugonomics. You take a lot of the pop culture into it. You mix it with professional wrestling. You get a whole smorgasbord, if you will, of just verbal assassination on the mic and also desecration in the ring. I'm here for it. So yeah, go ahead.
Mike, even to your point, to add to that, there's some similarities. Melo's coming up. There is something, and I think you can all agree, there is something special about this dude. Like he has it. Like he's the kind of guy where you could look at it and be like, yeah, 5 years from now, I could see him headlining WrestleManias after WrestleManias. Like he's the kind of guy where you could see him as WWE champion, as World Heavyweight champion, doing the movies, doing the shows, doing the appearances, being
Him.
to borrow a phrase, him. You could see it, and it's to kind of steal from Mike. I got another one that I think, we go young talent that really could use that Cena rub. Braun Breaker.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yes.
Maybe it was like number 2 on my list.
That was number 2. Okay. I think we all can agree Braun Breaker was on all of our lists. That's that Hurricane Rana. He's got the dog in him, if you will.
It's a Frankensteiner, Michael.
That's right.
Frankensteiner. Excuse me. Thank you. The Steiner screwdriver. Forgive
Don't
me.
make me do the math.
Exactly.
Don't make me do the math here.
Yeah, we don't need him to do any math because I'm pretty sure he'll go 1 + 1 is 2. So I don't know. Moses, you go for it.
Well, I mean, the guy actually does have a college degree, unlike his dad. He did not go back to Michigan, and on top of that, he got a little extra education from the Ravens. But again, we think of everybody that Cena has gone up against, and there was at one point that Cena had went on repeat and started wrestling the same guys over and over again. JBL, Randy Orton, countless times over. One dude that I love to see him always go up against though is Kurt Angle. And in this instance, I have to go with the modern day Kurt Angle, who's actually in WWE, and say Chad Gable.
Woo! Thank you.
That one would be excellent. That one, I think, can probably drive him, work him in the ring, but still, John could still get the leg up on him.
I mean, I'm happy.
Sure, but then again, you have a guy with a mat-based actual ring style, and John has always done really well with that. He, again, though, being up in age, I don't know if he could actually hang at that level, but I'm sure Chad would tone it down just a smidge.
Well, I mean, to add on to Mo's point, I'm having flashbacks, and I like how you brought up Chad Gable, because probably one of the most underrated feuds in WWE is him and Kurt Angle. The match that they had at No Mercy 2003, the match that they had at No Way Out 2005, going towards WrestleMania 21, the match at Unforgiven 05 and Survivor Series 05. This was like prime Kurt Angle, and now we have Chad Gable right in his prime. There, Chad, you suck at the man. He is the modern-day Kurt Angle, and he's got his Team Angle proteges there in the Creed brothers, who are just absolutely spectacular. So, I mean, I like that, Mo. I like that. Roberto.
Okay, Rob, who you got next?
So to kind of go with Mike's picks of the young guys, I want to see Cena versus Dom.
Ooh.
All right. Okay.
In this whole scenario, and Dom's kind of playing to this now to an extent. You know, it's time for the old guys to move aside, make room for the young guys. You know, we got this whole thing of ageism, I guess. You know, I think it would tell a good story.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of good promos. You can get a lot more heat on Dom, which I don't know if you really can at this point, because he's the only person in history to turn even more heel, if you know what I'm talking about.
By the day.
But I think that would be a fantastic match.
You know, you hear the crowd reaction with Dom, and I mean, Dom just happens to generate that hate. I mean, and that heat, and every time you hear him just grab the mic, and all of a sudden it's like you hear the boos. That ain't nothing filtered in, Vince. That's natural heat, Vince. See, and that's where I think that's somebody he was on my list, by the way.
Same.
Dom was on my list because he could face Eddie's son. I mean Ray's son, you know, and
Allegedly.
you know, allegedly Eddie's son, you know, the mullet and everything, you know, the mustache, you know, it all works, you know, it's somehow it's just working for him, and he's just literally running with it. Everything he's doing right now is like he is running with the heat, and he loves it.
I think to add on to your point, I mean, Dominic over here looking like Halloween Havoc and it ain't even 1997. I look at it from a stance like this. You have Dominic Mysterio. I mean, he's wrestled Eddie Guerrero, the infamous parking lot brawl match back in 2003 on SmackDown. Him and Ray, where Rey Mysterio wins the championship and loses it in one night to John Cena in 2001.
An hour later.
I know, an hour later. But, I mean, they've wrestled before as well in 2003 SmackDown. I mean, but John Cena and Dominic has the heel character over. I mean, if you look at really when he first came in, his first pay-per-view match, gosh darn it, was against Seth Rollins, and that match was fantastic. But he's grown leaps and bounds in only a span of 4 years. So I think him and Dom, especially the promos, and then John making fun of him from getting booed and Dominic not talking. So, I mean, you can really have that pizzazz and, dare I say, the panache when it comes into what we get to see within this feud. And I'll go with my next one just because I want to see it. We talk about big men slapping meat. You mentioned Braun Breaker. I'm going to mention another B. John Cena against that thick boy, Big Bronson Reed.
Hey.
I had that one too.
Yeah, he was somewhere on my list. Hold on. I will tell you exactly where he was at. He was at number 5.
All right.
He was at number 5 on my list because, dude, I mean, it's Bronson Reed. I mean, he's already getting over with Seth. Why wouldn't he want to get over with John Cena? I mean, it's John Cena. You know, he in his final run, man. Why wouldn't you want to put him in there with the young talent? I mean, that's the reason why Triple H brought him back, right? I mean, he brought all these young kids back just for this.
Oh, great.
I'm hoping a little more, but you're not wrong.
I got one that's kind of out there.
Hit me.
Tama Tonga.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you let Tama do his thing, and Mo, Rob, you guys especially know what I'm talking about, let him be the New Japan Tama Tonga.
The bad guy.
The bad guy. That's what I'm talking about.
Let him be the bad guy Tama Tonga. And I really think he and Cena could create magic.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in the Best of the Super Juniors, right?
Cena or Tama?
No, Tama. Yeah, Cena.
The best of Super Junior.
I don't think Tom has ever been that small to be in the best of the Super Juniors. I know
No.
he's always been.
I just know he's small. That I mean,
Like
I know.
G1.
Yeah, he's always been in G1. I don't think he's.
G1
I mean
in the New
G1.
Japan.
I mean, sorry, my bad. It was
Yeah.
G1.
He doesn't meet the.
But I mean,
weight
even the
requirements.
singles run. Even if you look even at the singles runs he's had in New Japan, I mean, he's just been one of those guys that could just work with anybody.
You're not
Would-
wrong.
Would have loved to see him be the Intercontinental Champion over there, but
Yes.
they kind of
Oh,
fucked
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so another person on my list is I'm going to NXT.
Okay.
So the one person that I think can use that rub, and you guys could probably either agree with me or not, is Sean Spears.
Ooh.
Oh, he would for sure need
Yeah.
it and use it and run with it.
Because I think Sean is there for a reason. Forget that he's just there to help out, just to be there and, help out the wrestlers and everything. But I think that would be somebody that could use that maybe North American championship at some point, and I don't see him getting into the world championship just yet. But I think even that North American championship, just John Cena, him and John having a few promos back and forth, I think that could pretty much propel him into that category.
I concur. I think he's come a long way since the Big Ten, the Perfect 10.
Yeah, and he's not the perfect 10. He's not the perfect 10. So
he's not even Gavin Spears when he was on that CW on sci-fi back in the day. Good Lord. But no, I concur with you. I mean, Sean Spears right now is going against Tony D for that North American Championship coming up. So, I mean, you have so many people from the veteran side of things. I mean, he's a former OVW tag champ with Cody Rhodes. You look at the developmental system. I mean, John Cena coming from Ultimate Pro Wrestling, UPW, Rick Bassman's promotion in California, and then charging and really going into the prototype mold into OVW. So, I mean, they both have developmental history, so to speak. So, I mean, I think that is a big get. But I am also on the line of NXT as Paul, and I am going to go with John Cena against Obafemi, baby.
Golly.
Obafemi, baby.
Obafemi, baby.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oba fucking Femi.
Oba fucking Femi. Friggin' yes. The dude is so young. He's in his early 20s. He's such a beast. He has just made a mark in his short tenure in WWE. The dude is a beast.
Let's just say that guy hasn't been wrestling all that long.
No.
And you could see how much of a natural talent he is. Week after week, and him being in that ring, even Tony D, those matches that he had with Tony D, man, it looked like he went over there and whooped his ass. But I mean, he just looks like he's a veteran. A in their prime veteran. Green. He doesn't look green at all, and he makes it look so effortless.
The athletic prowess of a big man is always remarkable.
Exactly.
Let's make sure we get Jim Cornette a map too,
Mr.
so
Moses
he knows
Marquez. Who you got?
Who
you got on this list?
See, first, I hope Jim Cornette knows that Nigeria is a real place and doesn't bring up that whole gimmick again. But as far as awkward situations that you could possibly get into, and I mean, I say this out of humor, of course, but I started this entire thing with, of course, promo bases, because that's where we always see John first. We always see him as one of the best, if not the best, to have a microphone in his hand. And you always want to have somebody who's going to be on that level. And the one guy who's been on that level that somehow we haven't mentioned yet is LA Knight.
Yeah.
I've always made the argument that LA Knight is the perfect combination of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock all at one. And because of that, he is like the perfect opponent for John, because John had that long rivalry with The Rock. He never had one with Stone Cold. It's like taking on the two massive names of the Attitude Era all at once. But again, that's all for the joking sake. But in reality, it's excellent promos. It's a guy who is at a decent work rate, not an amazing one. He's not the greatest wrestler in ring work rate that you've ever seen. But again, somebody who's on a level of John. They could put on a good enough match and make you want to see it, because of all the promos that we're going to get.
Yeah. To go off of Mo's point, I think what I like about how he really put that into perspective there, you look at LA Knight when he was Eli Drake. Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
Dummy. Yeah.
From his TNA tenure when he was just that, the undeniable Kavorka, if you will, him and Chris Masters, Chris Mordetsky at the time, and he came in with the Rising. I mean, the maturity level and just him going up and climbing up and up and up, even though he reigned as hell with TNA before he lost that TNA championship to that goddamn Austin Aries, we really got to see a lot of what we saw during his TNA tenure, his NWA tenure especially, and now where he is in WWE. I think he's really fit the mold, especially you giving him a goddamn gimmick like Max Dupree, which was the drizzling shiznits.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, Vince. Thanks, Vince. So we now have what we have with John Cena and LA Knight. We saw the tag teaming together and the solo one. I like that. So I'm going to move over to Robert over here. Roberto, who you got?
I'm going to take it back to NXT, and I'm pretty sure this is on, at least, I know this is probably on DC's list, if not everybody's list, but Trick Williams.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, that trick, what?
Somebody who's had this kind of monumentous climb in NXT. I think this would push him to that next echelon of the main event scene. You got somebody who's athletic, somebody who can work. I'm sure Cena will push him on the mic, what Cena usually does, and I think this would be really good for not only us as fans, but for Trick in his development.
And to go off Rob's point, like Cena, Trick is somebody that has gotten over with the crowd organically. Like, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like the company said, "Hey, here's our new choice." It wasn't like Roman, where it was very much like this is who you have, you will like it. Trick never supposed to be a good guy. He was supposed to be the heel and that guy, but the crowd responded and the crowd liked him. And somebody, honestly, who I'll keep it in NXT, I think he would be a really good choice. It would get him over. I'm talking about former TNA Tag Team Champion, former AEW Superstar, all ego, Ethan Page.
Ego.
Here's a guy who, promo-wise, would be fucking perfect. He's a guy who he has it. Like, he's got that heel persona. And honestly, there aren't a whole lot of people that can hang with Cena on the mic. I think Ethan Page could do it.
I think so. I mean, if his tenure, like we mentioned in TNA or in even AEW, I mean, when he was a part of the North, great tag team with Josh Alexander, but of the two, he was the talker of the two. He had the chops, if you will, and he could really do the damn thing in ring. So, I mean, I like that, and especially the elevation of All Ego Ethan Page. It's all in the name from a marketing standpoint. And I mean, Paul, I'll go with you on this next one. Who are you going to go with, Mr. Paul Morales?
Well, I am actually going to go back to one rivalry that he's already had before, and it's with one Pepsi Phil.
Oh, man.
I have to, man, because you want to know what?
You don't have to.
In my mind, yes, I have to, because, I mean, it's one of those where he wants that match. I mean, and you know what? They never really got their real final match. Now, this will be if they do. Now, mind you, according to Denise Salcedo, he told Denise that he was going to have 36 appearances next year. In one of those 36 appearances, I don't care if it's, I just want to see them share a ring together. Whether it's a Royal Rumble thing, whether it's just a elimination chamber, or whether it's in a tag team match. I just want to see them share the ring together because it would be awesome. And I know the crowd will just feed into them, and they're probably not even going to know who the hell to root for, in all honesty.
It hits you in the feels because, like, again, 13 years ago, and we mentioned, like, what Kevin Owens recently doing the pile driver. The last time we saw the pile driver was CM Punk dropping John Cena on his dome piece in 2013. So, I mean, I think that you could play a lot from the nostalgia side of things. Now, Moses Marquez, I'm looking over you son of a gun. Who else do you got on your list, my friend?
Well, and I love that Paul brought up, rivalries that we can always go back to, and you bring up Pepsi Phil. I'm going to counter you with the guy that took over for him in Ring of Honor, and I want to go with Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that rivalry that they had. He brought the sheer, just the overall momentum of it, having Kevin Owens walk out there with the NXT title and just the ambiance of it because of the U.S. Open Challenge, the one that Sammy got so close to winning. It made it all that much more worthwhile when Kevin came out. And then they dragged this thing on forever, fighting over the U.S. belt. And I loved it. I mean, it ended up with a Kevin Owens persona change that was kind of lackluster. But that, besides the point, that was an excellent feud. And this more of a, I guess, established brawler, the new age Randy Orton, if you really want to put a paraphrase on it, that is Kevin Owens, I think would be excellent in the last run for John Cena.
Okay. I have to add on to his point because Moses Marquez, you just segued, and probably what a lot of people are going to have our list here. Guys, Moses did mention it since he did mention the U.S. Open Challenge. Sami Zayn, John Cena, run it back. Just don't hurt your arms, Sammy. Don't pop out your shoulders,
Yeah.
Sami Zayn. Let's
not do
run
it.
it back. Run it back. John Cena, Sami Zayn. Huh?
I like that one a lot. I like it. I don't know about D. I like it.
What do y'all think?
I
Hey,
got that.
Rob, go for it.
I like it, but to kind of keep the momentum going of rivalries he's already had, I want to see Cena and AJ again.
Okay.
I think the Royal Rumble match from, what was it, 2017?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the actually, it's my favorite Cena match of all time.
Beat up John Cena.
Beat up John.
The fact that they fought over the United States Championship, it wasn't a demotion, Roman. It was just taking that title and elevating it to what it was, and then fighting over the WWE Championship. It was just them being them and them going out there and kicking each other's asses back and forth across that ring and not even giving a shit.
And honorable mention to the Good Brothers, because one of their favorite things to do.
Beat up John
Cena.
Beat up John Cena.
I have to actually
Wacky Hands Only, boys.
Well, I love Robert's thing of the whole, the sequence of the Royal Rumble 2017, those 3 AAs at the end. My goodness gracious. And I mean, Dan, I'll let you go for this next one before I give my next one. Who you going with?
I am going current, and I'm talking about who, honestly, Rob, I'm going with my current favorite, the ring general, the king general, the world heavyweight champion, Gunther.
All right, now.
His mama named him Walter. We don't call him Walter.
Nine. The name is Gunther. I think the promos would be fantastic. It's Gunther has shown he can be that guy, that heel. And, I think, honestly, they would create some magic.
I think you all can probably attest to this. You could look at what John does to everybody, and that he brings out what they don't think they have. He knows that they can, cut a promo, but he knows I will cut you, but what it will do was it will help you in the long run with your promos. Look at Roman Reigns. He cut him down to size. He cut him down to he was about this big and ate him up. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. He did that shit 4 times in the span of 1 year and ate him up. And look at Roman now. Roman can cut a promo. Roman is a hell of a lot better on the mic than he was back then with John Cena.
Oh, yeah.
Roman's actually one of my picks too. I think running that back, this version of Roman against Cena would probably be one of the greatest WWE moments of all time.
So it wouldn't be like missionary position?
Hey,
not this time, but to go to Paul's point. Go to Paul's point when he told Austin Theory, "You're not ready."
Yeah.
Truth of he wasn't ready. He's still not ready.
No,
He's still not ready.
No.
Come on, Moses. Who you got?
I got an oddball. And since we're going current roster, I love my oddballs. I mean, Chad Gable was a curve. And who better to bring out the quirkiness, the goofiness, but yet the wrestling prowess than the big man himself, Otis.
Okay. All right.
Oh, man.
I like that.
I've been a massive Otis fan for a while because you have to understand, John Cena was the guy. If you want to play it into the relations, John Cena, at least in storyline, got the girl.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So did Otis. But what Otis never got was world championships, let alone multiple world championships. But this is a guy who, if you really wanted to, you could play up folklore, history. With his grandmother being a wrestler in the circus, traveling up and down the country, just beating everybody left and right. The fact that he was a multiple-time national champion high school wrestler, the whole nine. He has this lineage outside of WWE that I think would just be a freaking cool little nugget that you can add to it. And then again, you can add this whole dynamic of the, however you want to play it. The goofy dude versus the guy that had to be goofy to get over.
I like that. I mean, you mentioned the girls. I mean, John Cena got Eve Torres, and Zack Ryder got thrown off the stage by Kane in a wheelchair. And then you got Otis.
Poor Zack Ryder.
He sure did.
Yes, he did.
Oh man,
You got the lovable loser in Otis, who got Mandy Rose. I like that, and also you have the big brute going against both incredibly strong, power, and statuesque individuals in their own right. So I like that, Moses Marquez. I think that was an oddball, but a very quaint one. And I got to add on to his point because you mentioned the youngins. We mentioned Austin Theory, as Rob did with the infamous promo of "You're Not Ready," rightfully so. Truth, validity to it. I'm going to go with the other half of A-Town Down. John Cena against Grayson Waller.
somebody else that was on my list. Somebody else that was on my list. Look, Rob, you can say it, but they got one promo. They got one good promo out of him.
Yeah,
he got one good promo out of Grayson Waller. Yeah, he chewed him up and he spit him out. But I would love for him to, go back out there and try it again.
Yeah, and he's good. Like, he has a lot of talent. I know, Rob, go ahead. I just want to hear this, Rob. I know. Go ahead, Roberto Davis. What do you got to say about that boy, Grayson Waller? That Aussie.
His finisher sucks.
Great. Boy, Rob.
There we go.
Get better gear. You're not a boxer.
He's not a boxer.
He is somebody's creator wrestler that they made for real. His fucking wardrobe, his fucking entrance, and then his finisher, where he had to start it outside the ring and finish it inside the ring. You only do that in video game.
Too. His
music does suck too.
Wait, hold on. All right, so I can say, I'm gonna say this one. I love you guys. There's one thing I will add to that.
I love you, man. I love you.
Man. The one thing I can say, first of all, it is ridiculous that he has to go outside the ring and then roll back in. But you notice he changed it now. It went from a stunner to a flatliner, and it still stinks.
It still stinks.
It still stinks.
I didn't even know he changed it.
He changed it. It's a flatliner now.
Yeah. It's flatlining like his career.
Good
Lord.
Okay, so on the top, I have my final two, but I'll start with the one that has been clamoring to have a match with John Cena, and that is one Drew McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
That has to be one.
I figure it's on somebody's. I figure one of y'all got it on your list because he's even gone to social media and said shortly after Cena said that he was going to retire, 2025 was going to be his final run. He said, "I want him. I want to have a match with him." So, hey, I'm here for it. Give me those promos between the two. Shit,
Drew,
you're gonna get something good.
Drew, the big ass hater that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the big ass hater that he is.
Imagine the social media war.
If we could get a Cena Drew feud to the level that we got Punk versus Drew, but
with the promos,
I got one that I'm kind of shocked. Honestly, no one has said. Damian Priest.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I think that was on Nicola's list.
Put some respect on that man's name.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, there has to be one. Absolutely.
Like
it has to happen, man. I mean, come on, man. Former world heavyweight champion
in his zone. Like it's been said for years that WWE is looking for that next big Latino star, that they've been looking for. It's Damian Priest. That's your guy. You want a guy that can have that appeal.
And to your point, John can put him over too. I mean, not to say that he's not already over, but I mean that's somebody that he can have some promos with too, and just and work in the ring with and do an excellent job with. I mean,
exactly.
John's no slouch.
Priest is a big guy, but he isn't limited as some of the other big guys are. Like, he is pretty damn agile for a big guy.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I think for me too, I put it on here just because I want to see it now in this recent reiteration of his character, and I know he looks to be going into a feud now with LA Knight for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him and Nakamura do it because I remember when he first.
No speak English.
No speak English.
When he first beat him, and I mean that whole thing everybody talked about was by accident. He dropped John Cena on the stone piece. injuries, which again, accidents do happen, but Nakamura then went on to lose straight to Jinder. Don't hinder the Jinder. Hi, Amir.
Don't do it.
Sorry, Amir.
Hi, Amir. Don't hinder the Jinder.
Hi, Amir.
Sorry, Amir.
Let me tell you something, bitch. So
We'll pay you.
We'll pay you.
Hey, you Amir. So with that, I mean, with this particular dark era of Shinsuke Nakamura, where we are now, I think knocking on heaven's door, and John Cena would definitely kill it in a rematch now.
I have to look at it like this. So I do have my final choice,
Okay.
and that's running it back with one Randall Orton.
Yep, as we all have that. Yep.
That's one that has to be.
That's the one that has to happen. I mean, if of anybody on this roster, that would probably be the one where he needs to run it back because of that the feuds he had from the time that he got from OVW onto the main roster. 14-time world champion who is probably chasing John Cena, or who is chasing John Cena, who has 16, and I think eventually, yeah, John's probably going to hit 17, but I don't know. I would like to see it. Supposedly breaking Ric Flair's, championship reigns, even though we know there's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It to me, it's just the classic matches that they've had. Somebody who he has a phenomenal history with. Sorry, AJ. And we want to see that. I think there are fans who are clamoring to see them together. Rob, what you think?
Yeah. I definitely think if this is going to be it, he's got to go out at least one time with Randall. That's definitely a must.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
That could possibly be his last match because everybody, like, I was there the first time that they did it. John Cena, Randy Orton from SummerSlam 07, probably the best match on that doggone card. And then we went to a billion trillion times after that. But I mean, it's what everybody's synonymous with: the yin to the yang, the David, the Goliath. However you want to identify it, the Bonnie, the Clyde. You got John Cena and Randy Orton, and I mean, the only other name I could think of, and I know Daniel mentioned it, and I'm sure you guys could agree. Y'all want to see John Cena and Logan Paul if Logan Paul does come back, or
I would not see it.
Why?
We're a little too hating on the Paul name right now. So.
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm not hating on it, but man, why?
But I'm not hating on it.
But I'm not hating on it.
I'm not hating on it, but I'm not hating on it.
But he's such a good heel, even though he's a douchebaggery full of sorts. The dude can work. He is an impressionable athlete. Third match in, he got a title shot against Roman Reigns. We've seen the matches with Ricochet. We've seen him in there with The Miz. We've seen him in there with LA Knight. Yeah. We've seen him in there with Randy. Like, he's been in a lot of top notch. And for such a young man to really transition into this so quickly and so abruptly, he really is knocked out of the park in anything that he sets his mind to. So, I mean, I think he could give Cena a good show. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what all I got right now. And, I mean, I think we're kind of at the portion of the show, my gentlemen and my dear friends. Y'all want to talk some about your favorite memories at moments?
I got one.
Go ahead. All right, hold on. Before we get to that, go ahead, Dan.
You talk about running it back, and I cannot believe no one has mentioned this. A guy who, to me, guaranteed Hall of Famer,
okay,
arguably, in my opinion, the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, Miz.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
A guy who has been the workhorse, has done everything that WWE has asked him to do. Great as a face, even better as a heel. We need Cena versus Miz one last time. Remember the promo that we got between Bryan Danielson and The Miz, that fiery promo?
From NXT?
Yeah,
no, from
the one from
SmackDown.
Okay, yeah.
SmackDown.
Imagine something like that, but with Cena and Miz.
Well, I mean, if we could get Miz and Maurice dressing up like John Cena and Nikki Bella again, I'm here for it. John! Yeah, I'm here for it if they do that again. If we do that again, I'm here for it. But no, to add on to Daniel's point, I mean, The Miz from his inception in 2006, where we just celebrated his anniversary, where he beat Tatanka, for God's sake, in his debut with the reality check and whatnot. We have someone who's grown to leaps and bounds from where he was in 2011 to where he is now. That would be an interesting dynamic. I mean, The Miz is doing his thing now now. I mean, being involved in the Wyatt Six Final Testament little thing that's been going on that a lot of us are sinking into our teeth into now, since they're the first ones to lay out the Wyatt Six. But I think Miz can still do his damn thing on the mic, and like Daniel mentioned, he's a company guy, so I think that is another good one to run it back with the Miz. Does anybody have any others? I think we kind of hit the criteria. Anybody else have another one that you'd like to say that sticks out?
I got one really to help build this guy back up, though.
Okay, go ahead.
If he was physically able,
Right,
I know it's not possible, but if it was physically able, Triple H one more time.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Mo, you got one more before we move on?
Just to try to build, because we were talking about trying to build a Latin American star, and this is a dude that at least to me he has the in-ring prowess. He has the ability to speak both English and Spanish fluently, but he just hasn't got the right rub at the right time. The LWO didn't work out for him, so Santos Escobar.
All right, El Fantasmo Santos Escobar. Very nice. Very.
That's actually a really, really good choice, because he's kind of one of those guys that are kind of stuck in the loop in WWE. Yeah. Like he wants to be put, like he should have been pushed into the United States Championship, and then it's like he did the LWO thing. He got the turn with Ray. He turned on them, and then he's just like stuck in this limbo. That's the worst part. This is like a Vince thing. No offense to Triple H, but this is like a Vince thing, to where you kind of just push him to the back of the line, but you have him come into the ring. You're waiting to see if he'll get over with anybody, but he's not really getting over with anybody, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Now,
okay, so now that we got through that, we got everybody in WWE.
Uh-huh.
Now let's talk about everybody outside of WWE. I got a list of 5. Come up with 5. You could throw them out there. I don't care. You don't even have to be in order. It doesn't have to be in no particular, whatever. But we can go from whatever company outside of WWE. New Japan, TNA, AEW.
Okay.
GCW. You know what, DC, look, you already clamoring at it. DC, you hit them up.
You got 2 guys who are arguably some of the most loyal in their company. They're both in their final year. I got to go the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Uh-huh.
Do it in Wrestle Kingdom, in the Tokyo Dome. I guarantee you that shit would sell out on that match alone.
Tanahashi, baby. You're talking about a modern day Masahiro Chono, to like an Okada kind of thing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're bringing the 2 guys of 2 eras going against each other, and I think that'd be freaking awesome. Masahiro Chono and Hulk Hogan, I should say.
You would sell that building out in just that match alone.
Yep, exactly. It don't matter to give a night. Give it one night. It'll sell out like
you could open Wrestle Kingdom with that thing.
Yeah, exactly. You could open Wrestle Kingdom with that match, and people be like, "All right, what's the rest of the match? All right, we got to go by."
Yep. Satisfied.
And I think we look at Tanahashi and we look at where he's going in his career. I mean, he's not retiring till I think Wrestle Kingdom of 26, but still, that would be one that fans would love to just see, even if it's just them in the ring together, taking a picture, anything like that. That would be something that fans would just like drool over.
I'm right there with you. I still remember when I first saw him and AJ Styles from TNA's Final Resolution 2006, like a young Tanahashi. I mean, especially Tanahashi with his history in New Japan Pro Wrestling as the ace, as they mentioned. I think that would be fantastic. I'm going to go the counterpart, and I know we all have this on our list. Beach Kazuchika Okada.
That's right.
He wasn't on my list, but yeah, he. The funny thing is that he wasn't on my list. Rob, who you got? You got him on there?
Yeah, no, Okada was not on my list either, but I'm going to go with Kenneth Jerome Omega.
Yeah, that's a given. But how in the world is Okada not on everybody else's list? You have the dude.
Well, because I kind of think
it was either Tana or Okada.
In my mind, it's like, okay, he's Okada, but I mean that Kenny Omega was like the first one that I already had Tanahashi,
Okada
Kenny Omega was the other guy that was on my list, so it was just like I had to pick and choose, man. Because by the time I told Michael yesterday, I said I couldn't stop at 4 because I knew another person popped into my head, and I'm like I couldn't stay at 4. So, but Okada wasn't one of them.
Okay.
Okada has to be one. The guy considered the modern day Ric Flair against the guy that's matched Ric Flair's championship record, quote unquote. I think it just kind of fits in its own right. It's two dudes that have literally held companies on their back for long periods of time. Were world champion for years on end.
Only if Okada goes, woo!
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be cool if they got in the ring and he did that in front of Cena. That would be pretty hilarious, though.
And then he's got to call Cena a bitch.
Oh, that would be everybody would pop.
and not like Io calling Asuka a bitch.
Bitch. Now,
right.
I gotta add on. All right, so TNA, I had one. I believe Nika also had this on her list. Moose definitely sticks out as one. Moose. But I have to pick one as well because Nick Nemeth, I'd love to see him and Dolph Ziggler run it back like we saw in 2012 in their feud there. I think him and Nick Nemeth, the Ziggles, if you will, do the Ziggle Wiggle. I'd like to definitely see Nick Nemeth come back with that with him and Cena.
Can you imagine the pop he would get at like a Slammiversary?
Oh my God.
And his music just hits, or a Bound for Glory, or any of their pay-per-view events. Can you imagine the moment that his music just hits? I don't care. Dr. Thugonomics, I don't care which one. The Time Is Now, I don't care. It don't matter. But just imagine that it hits, that crowd is gonna die.
No, I know John is in fantastic shape, but he wouldn't have to run that far from the stage to the ring either. I think that's a plus.
Yeah, that's a plus.
That's very true.
And imagine him beating up JBL in the ring.
Oh yeah,
I'll run it back. My goodness,
that would be a run back though. All right,
I'm loving these whole like
who else
connections.
you got on your list, Moses?
I'm loving these connections from previous to stays in WWE, but I'm loving the reality of everybody else that we could pick. So for me, this was like I was a kid in a candy store. You were saying 5, you said 4 at first, then 5. I was like 45. Okay, you got it 45. I got 45 names for you, but it's 5. We already said the Great Okada, which I feel is an absolute huge one that has to be done. Kenny is another one. It's a top tier. But again, I'm loving the curveballs that I could throw. I could definitely say, let's go with this version of a Jon Moxley versus Cena. But instead, I'd rather go with the guy, like if you will, the back of the day, the WWF versus the WCW guy. Let me give you the AEW guy versus the WWE guy and give you Nick Jackson.
Ooh, damn.
Again, the work rate reality. We talk about promos and the lack thereof of promo, but again, Nick Jackson is a great promo. The Young Bucks are great promos, whether you like them or hate them. To me, they're great promos. I think he could mesh beautifully with John in that aspect, but then again, turn out an absolute banger that nobody thought they would see coming.
Is it me or is Nick better on the mic than his brother?
Oh,
He is. He's the better overall. That's why everybody says, he could have a singles run. He can.
Yeah.
Matt, I don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Matthew does not seem to have that exact same,
get fined.
je ne sais quoi on the mic, that he has. I mean, it just seems like he's a different, lower toned, not as hype on the mic as Nick.
Okay.
He's a good side man.
Now,
he's a good side man. He's his wingman.
There it is.
He's a good side piece. So,
Side
Daniel, you want to go with your next one?
Whose house?
Swerve house.
Fucking Strickland.
Okay.
God
all
damn.
right. Didn't even think about Swerve.
They would burn the fucking shit down.
Oh, as long as it's not a death match. So I don't know. John.
Oh, you know what? Sign me up for deathmatch.
Fuck it. Bring the cinder. Back up the cinder blocks.
John, get the chain ready. Do it for the chain gang.
No,
I've seen John bleed in 20 years, I think.
You know, I'm going to give you a twofer on this one because you mentioned
Okay, here we go.
deathmatch, and because what's Tony say? Do it for the sickos.
Oh no!
Do it for the sickos.
Yeah, do it.
Ah.
I love you all.
The king,
The
man, the god of that shit. I mean, Nick fucking Gage.
No,
Let me have Cena do one death match.
For whom the bell
not against
tolls.
Nick Cage.
Then who?
No.
If you're gonna do it, you know what? You bring that up, and I immediately.
Why are you
go
trying to kill John Cena, man?
But hold on, no. But he
I
says
think
that,
Nikki
but,
would take care of him though.
but he talks about
True.
yes and no. The scars will last forever, but you have to bring up Nick Gage's greatest deathmatch opponent, and I have to go with David Arquette.
Ooh.
just to throw some fucking shade and some fun because we're having fun. If we're gonna have a random death,
I can
match,
hear
if
Jim
we're gonna have a
Cornette
random
right
ass-
now.
If you're gonna have a random ass death match, in all
Why
honesty,
is it I can hear Jim Cornette, even fucking Dave Meltzer? I can
These
hear
dumb
them both
motherfuckers.
right now.
Making death matches?
What you do with Johnny? You used to fucking come here at OVW fucking 20 years ago. Now you want to ruin your goddamn career doing this fucking shit. Yeah,
Ruin your fucking legacy.
Actually,
I love it. I would pay top dollar to go see that one.
all right, I'm gonna.
Goddamn
no.
son of a bitch.
I'm gonna add on to that point. I'm gonna add on to the point of the death match here because you mentioned Nick Gage. We've seen him in WWE in the U.S. Open Challenge, but with how his career has evolved, and the man stays ready, always ready. Matt Cardona.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Somebody who hit my list. That was one person who hit my list.
Well, yeah,
And
they're just
it's
friends
crazy to think that how far he's come from Zack Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
From that character that he was as Zack Ryder, to think that he's evolved so much. You know, the death match king. That would be somebody I'd love to see him do a death match with.
Yeah, him and Cardona.
Yeah, him and Cardona. Give me that one.
Okay.
Hell in a Cell. Give me them in a Hell in a
God.
Cell.
Oh my goodness.
Trademark City.
Robert Davis, who you got?
Orange Cassidy.
Yes, sir.
Cena versus Orange Cassidy.
Now
this
that's
is-
the promos I want to see.
I mean, not only the pro, but like with John being part of the old guard, how would he react to OC just standing there in the ring?
You know what? I think
Really interesting.
just the fucking death-defying kicks, the shin breakers.
Oh man, yeah, you imagine that, man. He just be over there slowly breaking
see,
down Cena's shins, man, and putting his hands up and in his pockets and just like bink, bink, man. That's the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment.
He
I'm
lifts
thinking
up
of-
the glasses. Hey, where'd you go, Cena?
We need a spot
Right.
where Cena goes to pump up his shoes and Orange Cassidy puts his hands in his pockets.
Put my hands in my pockets.
You goddamn son of a bitch! Get your hands out of your pocket.
No, take your fucking hands out of your pockets, you fucker. So I mean, with
You're not a wrestler.
not a goddamn wrestler, fucking stunt show, you piece of shit. So I mean, with everything that comes with the territory there, another one I got to add onto the list because you all probably have this on your list as well. The frigging talking points, the promos, the overall cocky and confidence that exudes this man. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he is better than you, MJF.
And you know it.
And
That
you
was
know
on
it.
Nicholas' list.
Yes.
That would have been probably the most epic promos in all of wrestling history.
Probably wouldn't even need to have a match.
No,
They don't even need to have a match. I don't even care if they have a match.
No.
I would just love to have them have a Twitter beef for all I care.
Right.
Just for them to have a Twitter beef and talk smack to each other, give me that.
I mean, another one I could add, and I'm going to ask you gentlemen on this, just because if you want to run another one back and for the nostalgia factor, John Cena versus Adam Copeland. Yeah,
I'm more afraid of Adam getting hurt again.
that's my thing. I think the other one I had just because they never really got that one-on-one match in 2005 as it was supposed to be at Vengeance for that championship. But Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon, I got to go Christian Cage, especially this incarnation of Christian Cage now.
This Christian Cage? Fuck.
Yeah.
The
Go.
world's greatest stepdad.
Yes. I think that would be good because
Hey, John, your dad's not dead, but he will be soon.
But it will be.
He won't be fabulous, that Johnny Fabulous. No, he will not be so fabulous when I'm done with him. No. But
I got one.
Good.
Go DC.
Tetsuya Naito.
Oh,
Oh,
That
I was
would be an
indifferent about
interesting
Naito, but I
one.
like it.
okay. Fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
his
Lady.
his neck.
The one name that stuck out to me as soon as you say his name, he may appear. One Joe Hendry.
That's right.
I like it. That
He
would
just came down the stairs. He's here.
No, that I actually like that just because
That would be that, and if we're looking at the where his contract is at, he's going to be at the end of it at the end of the year. He'll be finishing up with TNA, and
He'll
I'm
be in NXT
almost
anyway.
certain he's going to end up in NXT. So
Yeah.
we could possibly get that.
That motherfucking pop at the Royal Rumble is gonna be stupendous.
Oh, as soon as you hear say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Moses, you were supposed to believe in Joe Hendry.
I do believe in Joe Hendry, but you see, I believe in Joe Hendry, but I like Canadians. Oh no, he's not Canadian. Where is he from? He is from the
Scotland.
UK.
From
He's
Scotland.
Scottish.
That's right. Okay, so there we go. We're talking about the UK. So the Scottish people, that's great. So if we're gonna stay over the side of the pond, why not bring up the greatest import there's ever been from the UK, and that'd be Will Ospreay.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Boy, bruv.
Bruv?
What, bruv?
You
Right,
can't
bruv.
He's had problems with Canadians. He said he could have a problem with a Scottish fella. Why not have problems with with an Englander? I don't think that's how you say it, but why not?
How we say it now.
That's how we say it now. But
Well,
no,
all fair in love and war, right? He's just gonna go out there and not do very much to him. But anyway.
John, I'll pay you.
I'll pay you. Come to my company. I can see you though. I would like to.
All right, Rob, you got one more?
I'll tweet out the wrong birthday.
Wow.
You know what? Just because we're talking about guys from the other side of the pond, this gentleman, his promo ability has impressed me over the last couple of years. I couldn't stand this guy probably 7-8 years ago, but now he's definitely probably one of my favorite guys. Very, very reminiscent of old school promos where he's just constantly yelling all the time, and that's Switchblade Jay White.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
I think that would be fantastic. Another
Alien mate.
another one where you can play where it's the young guy's time. Get out of the way, old guy.
Oh, I got one. I got another one. Now, first of all, when you mentioned Cena and Ospreay, I would love to see how John Cena would act to being called bruv, if that were to occur in those promos. Those promos just bruv.
Oi, bruv.
Oi, bruv. I have to say, just because they both came in together, I mentioned earlier in the show UPW Rick Bassman and his UPW class there in California. Frankie Kazarian was in it, but I'm not talking.
Hey.
Frankie would be cool, but another one I had to go because I don't know if they've ever touched in WWE, but since he is in AEW now, I will go with Samoa Joe.
Hey, I don't think we ever
Samoa
got
Joseph.
it. We need it.
I
That would be.
don't
promo
think we
class
ever got that
101.
one. That one would be a good one, though.
Yeah, John and Joe. Yep.
I got my final pick. I have selected Kyle Fletcher.
Ooh.
Hey.
Hey.
An up and comer.
You talk about
An
young
up and
guys.
comer.
I think that's the route Cena's going, is he wants to put over the young guys. And Kyle Fletcher's a kid on the up and up.
Oh yeah.
I think my final one for me was actually somebody who's not even being utilized right now in AEW, and that is Ricky Starks.
Ooh.
That's the one that that's the name that actually popped up to me. And I remember when Adam actually told him he was a bootleg version of Rock.
A vanilla midget version
of the Rock. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it was hilarious, but dude can work on the mic. If given the opportunity, he could work on the mic.
Wow, that really pushed me over the edge.
Somebody like John can bring that out in him. If given the opportunity, John could bring it out in him.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
there's a part of me from the comedic side, because we mentioned a lot of talents that did come from Ring of Honor, like the Styles, and many of them, like especially with TNA, like the old guard, the new guard alumni. There's a part of me that just wants to see him and Roddy go at it, just so he can go John and do that.
That'd be great.
But a lot of people don't give Roddy credit. The Messiah, the backbreaker, the man has got skills, and I think that would be a very solid match if those two ever did it.
Good.
Oh my
John!
John! That would be hilarious, though.
Friggin' sounds like Morris Chestnut and Boys in the Hood. Ricky!
Ricky!
So,
Oh, man. Stop diving, man. Stop diving.
so we do have the final portion of the show, guys. Let's talk about some of our favorite moments.
I will say I'm surprised nobody has said Adam Cole.
Ah! All right.
We're scared of his boner take her foot.
Yes.
I still think Adam Cole is very fragile, so I don't know how well he'll work in the ring.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's very injury prone at this stage. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Wrap him in bubble paper.
I think his ex-boo needs to work on his teeth more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he went there. So, favorite moments and memories. I will start with. All right, hold on. Wait a minute. Y'all put it up there. There's a part of me that now wants to see John Cena versus Jey Uso, since he just said yeet. That would be fun. But the pop that he gets with this and John Cena, Cena, let's go Cena sucks. John Cena and yeet would be very interesting. Or John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I think with him and Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes, I want the heel Cody Rhodes. I don't want the face Cody Rhodes. I want the heel Cody Rhodes. That's the one I want. If he's gonna go with John Cena, that's the version I want. I want the ROH New Japan Bullet Club.
He has to grow that stupid fucking mustache though again.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the version of Cody Rhodes that I want. I don't want this version. I like this version, but I'm just saying if we're gonna get Cena versus Cody, then that's the version that I want.
You mean in TNA where he gave the girl 45? Here's 20 more than they were actually going to pay you. That one?
Yeah, exactly.
That was fucked up, but yes. All right, let's get into our favorite moments and memories. Mo, Mr. Moses Marquez, M squared in the place to be. Let me ask you, sir, to start off. What are some of your favorite moments of John Cena memories throughout his career? We mentioned a lot of the dream matches and possibilities. What's some of your favorite moments, man?
The list I want to say is just like it's endless. There's plenty of rivalries from John's later runs in the newer eras. Again, the U.S. Open Challenge is a massive favorite of mine. But we talked about it briefly, and my favorite opponent for him, because it always felt so personal, was JBL.
Ooh.
His run with the WWE Championship, that whole SmackDown era of just sheer brutality. The big man versus the big man in a way, the blood, the carnage, the whole thing. I absolutely loved it. I always want to go with, the guy we're not supposed to talk about, Chris Benoit. I want to say him versus whatever. They didn't really have a feud like that, though. But him and JBL impacted me so where I actually started to like John, even though, I know I'm not the only one that went from loving John because, Doctor of Thumbographics, Word Life, you're probably buying a chain and a lock at Home Depot to wear at school. But once that part was slowly going away and this JBL dude kind of reignited the feud, I loved it. And for me, that's a massive, massive thing. Seeing him absolutely covered in just blood everywhere, and rocking the black jorts, the black khakis, and holding up the undisputed, then known as the WWE Championship, it always will live in for me in my brain.
A crimson mask, as JR used to call it.
There it is.
I got to add on to his point because he made me smile. Like also John Cena, JBL, like you mentioned, the I Quit match from Judgment Day 05, and the fact that afterwards, after he beat him, because Word Life, he turned that friggin' promo video into like a friggin' rap thing. Hold on, John, I quit. He turned it into like a rap type of hype video, which I thought was hilarious. So kudos to that. But I got to add on to his point, man, just because when you look at John Cena during that time period, I think of the freestyles, one from 2005 where he's going on number one contenders. And, John Cena's kind of like a pinwheel. You can go ahead and blow me, like stuff like that. And, talking about how, Lita's a slut and she gave me gonorrhea. Like those promos and everything like Everything that they did during that time. And I mean, everything from, your 5-second pose and he gives Christian the finger on the highlight reel, that debut on Raw. That whole 05 era was just fabulous. And also, you mentioned the man who should not be named. They did have a good couple matches. He was the one that Cena beat to become number one contender at Backlash 03 against Brock for that championship. We inmates, Brock, don't you drop that soap, bitch. So, I mean, those type of vibes with it. Daniel Krivitz, what are some of your favorite memories and moments from that point?
You really talked about the debut to Raw was a big one.
Yeah.
But honestly, to me, it's the one that really made me respect Cena, and I'm talking ECW One Night Stand 06.
Ooh,
walking into the Hammerstein Ballroom, an ECW crowd. To this day, I have never seen anything. I've never seen energy like that. Like
single man being hated so much.
When that crowd had those signs that said, "If Cena wins, we riot," they would have. And yeah. I know fans have done it since. No, they would have rioted.
Well, did you notice the guy who throws the T-shirt into the crowd, then the guy picks it up, wipes his butt with it, and then he throws it right back at John Cena. That's the type of hatred.
And then yet another guy puts it down his pants.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one I was just gonna say too. The guy that put it down in front of his junk and wiped it around and then threw it back in the ring. The other dude the other girl that wiped it between her legs and she threw it back in the ring. Every damn time they did something. He was just like, all right, I ain't throwing it no more, and ain't nobody wanted it.
New Yorkers, ladies and gentlemen, New Yorkers.
New York, I tell you, New York, I tell you, New York.
I really don't think they knew what they were walking into when they did that.
No,
God, no.
You can see that they had no idea. I understand Vince wanted to do this. I really, really, truly understand that Vince wanted to do this, but he had no idea what was coming. Especially with those fans that are ECW fans.
Exactly. And you had, and since there have been interviews with Tommy Dreamer, with RVD, the Dudleys, who have all said, yeah, if they had Cena go over, that crowd would have rioted.
Oh, yeah. Somebody would
have we wouldn't have been able to stop. They would have had to call the NYPD.
I think, and I'll ask Roberto next because I'm looking at URD and the place to be. What are some of your favorite memories and moments of John Cena?
Ruthless aggression when he slapped the shit out of Kurt Angle.
The schnizzle.
That was definitely something that got my attention.
Uh-huh.
It's something that kind of was just like, yeah, I'm going to pay attention to this guy for a while. And then I think like the next year later, I stopped watching wrestling for like 13 years.
I like
but to come out and slap probably one of the top guys at that point, there's probably no better way to introduce yourself to the world,
No, I mean, you look at John Cena around this time period as well. There's one underrated promo, and I urge you guys, if you haven't seen it, as well as the listeners to. So John Cena's pay-per-view debut against Chris Jericho before he was what he is now, when he was the idol of the Rock and Roller and Y2J. Don't be an ass clown, Chris Jericho. So the pay-per-view debut, he cuts the promo in the back with Miss Terry Runnels before on Sunday Night Heat, and he's like, oh, you didn't get that? Let me rewind the tape. I'm the rookie that's going to kick his ass. Underrated promo, and he beats Chris Jericho in his pay-per-view debut. Ruthless aggression, mofos. So that time period as well. I also have to add on to his point when John Cena had the Orlando Magic, shout out to Tracy McGrady at the time with the jersey, and then he just smacks Stephanie McMahon right on her bootay, like that time period. Go ahead.
You mean Chris didn't tell John to suck his dick from the back?
No, Chris. We don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
I think you go back to when he was almost gone. When he was literally on the bus in the European tour and he's in the back of the bus, his story that he's told many, many times, that he's on the back of the bus with Rey Mysterio and Rikishi, and they're back there just flowing. Stephanie McMahon hears him and she's telling him, you need to do that out there. You need to go out to the ring and you need to do that every day, every night. And right then and there, as soon as Vince was going to let him go.
Oh yeah.
Vince was trying to find a way to get him over, but somehow he just wasn't getting over. So the first time he did that freestyle, Halloween, in the back, and he's just free flowing with everybody back there.
Vanilla Ice.
Look, yeah, dressed like Vanilla Ice. It's like that was the culmination of who John Cena was and who we would know as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yes, sir.
You know, that was the beginning of the progression where we ended up. It's watching him become, I mean, literally the metamorphosis from what he wasn't to what he became was just organically phenomenal.
I mean, he was gonna like get fired right after that Rebellion 02 match when it was him and Dawn Marie against Tori Wilson and Billy Kidman, because he was having that brief feud with Billy Kidman at the time, and then he was just gonna fade into obscurity, if you will. And I mean, that really turned it around, like Paul mentioned. I gotta piggyback on Moses Marquez because Moses Marquez has been in fuego with this U.S. title open over there. I like this style. Great minds think alike. For me, WrestleMania 20, John Cena versus The Big Show, winning his first United States Championship. The pop he got at Madison Square Garden. John Cena and JBL, like Moses as well mentioned, WrestleMania 21. I think another one that really, really stands out for me is just WrestleMania as well, where him and Rusev, that dastardly Rusev, got beat and John Cena wins that United States Championship. I mean, we could be here for days, but Daniel, I'm going to ask you on your next one. Do you have any more moments and memories, my amigo?
And you know, to me, the wrong person won the match, but it had a really cool aura.
Sure.
I'm talking about the wrong person won the feud overall. I'm talking about John Cena inside a steel cage on Monday Night Raw. Lights go out, and you hear he's got the whole world in his hands, sung by a children's choir.
Oh, Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul. Yep.
That, to me, was one of Bray's most genius segments that he was ever in. That even still to this day, that segment is creepy.
Yes.
Yes, and I think that how they touched upon that and put into the Firefly Funhouse match, especially with the pandemic and everything that was going down with COVID at the time, what they did to add on to the point of creative genius, like those two, like coming up with that and just boom, it fits so well. Probably one of the best classmanships of just like verbally breaking down and psychologically breaking a mofo down, if you will, to size. And I mean, that sometimes you have to play the mind games with it, and that was really something that was so creative around that particular time period. And I mean, Robert Davis, any more John Cena moments and memories that stand out to the test of time since the time?
Yeah, him eviscerating Roman Reigns. You know, this was me coming back to wrestling after being gone for a long time. I knew who John Cena was. I knew what he was capable of. You know, the one thing that I appreciate about John and his promo work is that there's a small sense of realism to it. Uh-huh. Like, you know, it might be part of the story. He might be telling you the truth to your face. You just don't know. You know, that's something that I actually took for my own promo ability over with our friends at Max when I was cutting promos. One thing I always wanted to do was, you know, am I really telling you you're a
bitch
to your face, or is it part of the story? You don't know. Nobody knew.
No.
Yeah, Moses, he was calling you a bitch.
I know he was calling.
To your face.
He knew.
Him knew.
But sometimes, you know, that blurring of lines, if you will, can really define a story. And to see Roman shook to the point where the only thing he could muster up was "you're a fake ass bitch."
Mm-hmm.
You know, with John basically telling them the reason why I have to come back is because you can't do your job. That was just like, damn,
what a line!
You really can't do your job, bro. Get it together.
And I think with that, like, I mean, from the comedic standpoint, him eviscerating Kevin Federline, he come tight with every rhyme, ran down the street like Peppadime. And that match on January, the New Year's Day match in 07, like that from the celebrity standpoint. And I mean, John Cena, everything that went into that was just comedy. That was awesome. I think anything you put in front of him was awesomeness. And Paul, any final John Cena memories and moments?
John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, Raw 2007.
Oh, the 55-minute classic from
The
the UK.
55-minute classic. We as fans had never thought John Cena in a anything past
To go an hour.
anything past 20 minutes. But man, this man went in there, him and Shawn kicked ass for 55 damn minutes. They kicked ass. And you know, it's we always say what propels a wrestler. That did it. He was here, it put him into that icon category because he literally went out there and did his damn thing with Shawn. And Shawn, we all know, is Mr. WrestleMania. Whether he won or lost, he was always going to be the one, the showstopper and everything that he did. And, you know, to add on to it, the other thing that stands out to me is everything he did with The Miz. I understand not all the matches were great, you know, but him and The Miz, The Rock coming in, you know, that starting that feud with The Rock, that once in a lifetime that became twice in a lifetime, you know, and losing to that championship to The Miz, you know, even the years prior to that stuff that he did with The Miz, I mean, even putting him over, the promos that they had with each other, just great, one after the other.
Alrighty. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the career of John Cena. Your time is up. His time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. Word life. This is basic thugonomics. Hell, if you're a generic fan that remember his debut, the Slam Smack, that generic creative wrestler music.
Ruthless.
John Cena, a lifetime, once in a lifetime human being and a future Hall of Famer. And this is who we'd like to see him wrestle in some of our favorite moments. So we appreciate you listening to this Wrestling Roundtable, we'll call this, on the career of John Cena. And before we close this out, I'm looking at him. He's in the corner of my screen. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Daniel Crimmins. Where can we follow you on social media?
Pundit should be dropped tomorrow. Finally got it uploaded. Finally got to where I liked it, where I'm happy with it. YouTube's doing its thing. I mean, as you gentlemen know, YouTube can take its sweet-ass time uploading.
Oh, yeah, baby.
YouTube is a bitch.
But we still love you.
It's going to be uploaded to YouTube. Don't be calling them no bitch.
They know where I live. Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all in the same state, so, you know.
Well, yeah. I went to go visit Moses, but then all of a sudden he wasn't at home. All of a sudden he had a job on a Saturday.
Decides, oh, hey, I'm going to go jump on a ship.
So I went down and I went to go jump on a ship. Tried to jump off of it because Moses wasn't there. I was crying.
I'd probably jump off of
Moses Marquez, where can we find you, sir?
Yeah,
God. So you can find me right now each and every Thursday live on the YouTubes. Max Wrestling, YouTube Max Wrestling UK for the people on there on the Twitter. And, of course, Max Football Pod, because that's coming back, because not this football. This football has been taking over my life. So, of course, the Americans got to get on the side of it. There's some stuff going down with the U.S. side, the MLS. And, of course, I got to talk some English with Spurs. But other than that, that's where it is. And, of course, you can find the TSK on the Max YouTubes each time AEW or even WWE is doing a pay-per-view. So you'll probably see us in a couple of weeks and probably in accession, honestly, since the TSK takeover is in full effect.
Okay, beautifully stated.
Big Rob, it's all up on you, bro.
Hey, so you know what? I just found out that I'm going to be on Max again this week. So
hey, there you go.
Over on the Max Wrestling YouTube, the TSK takeover continues. We don't know how long it's going to continue, but we're going to have goddamn fun doing it. So you can find me over on the Max Wrestling podcast, deep into the heart of wrestling with that fine gentleman over there, Mr. Michael Larkin. We will be doing some prediction shows. We got a couple of prediction shows coming the next couple of weeks. We have a pop culture show that we're going to be doing where we talk about the Diddy.
You better get me some cheesecake, man. I'm hungry.
Cheesecake. Get you some cheesecake from Brooklyn, baby.
Cheesecake.
No Diddy.
So
Brooklyn, baby.
That's deep into the heart of wrestling. Linktree/Blackhearts EBD3. Also, you can check out Kicking It with the TSK. We will be doing a review show on Full Gear, which we'll be dropping shortly after the show. You could find us at Linktree/KITWTSK1. You can find me on my social media platforms, linktree/hey, it's Rob. Come holla at your boy one time. Sour sauce, prosciutto, parmesan.
Paul Morales.
Gabagool.
Make it
Paul
spicy.
Morales. Where can we find
Gabagool.
Of course, you can find me at that name right there, the Dead Man of RWT. I have it in my link tree and all my bios of either Twitter, YouTube, and of course TikTok. We'll be leaving Twitter at the end of the year.
Fuck Twitter.
Yeah, fuck Twitter. I will be
Fuck
over at
Twitter,
Blue Sky. I also have my Blue Sky, which I will be adding to my link. Of course, you can find our shows, this idiot, that idiot down there. Of course, you can find us on that guy's YouTube page. Yeah, that guy that's going to talk next. Give us a line. Give us some comments. Leave us a like. Mr. Michael Larkin, floor is yours,
right.
Mister.
So if y'all want to subscribe to this fine YouTube channel, is Mike Larkin 92. I appreciate the love of over 1,000+ subscribers. Now let's keep it going up, everybody. And also, while I am also at it, to also reciprocate the kind words that Moses Marquez gave me last week, subscribe to the Max Wrestling YouTube channel. Keep it on up. Do the damn thing. Subscribe to the Pile Driver Pundit. Subscribe to everyone on here and support your YouTube creators, your podcasters, and everybody that goes out here and put out the fine content, if you will, C-squared, if you will. Check out SM Show 1 and MCL92 on the Twitter, Larkin_92, MLarkinNB on the Instagram, StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com. This YouTube channel features Deep to the Heart of Wrestling, the weekly review, On the Mic with Mike, the Pop Culture History Podcast, the Stephen Mike Show, and of course, Lingerie Fighting Championships, a little bit of MMA, a little bit of wrestling, and a whole lot of little bit of clothing, man. So check out each and every week. Content out of the wazoo. I can't say it anymore. I'm getting a little tongue-tied, but I love what I do, and I know you all love what you do, and that's what this community is about. So for Moses Marquez, Daniel Crimmins, Paul Morales, and Robert Davis, I am Mike Larkin. Thank you for listening. Too Sweet Me, each and everybody. I'm going to steal it. I'm going to give it to but we're going to too sweet it up in this bitch, and we are out. And to
Bye, guys.
To finally close this out. Bye,
I
guys.
love you, Moses Marquez.
Happy birthday, even though it's not your birthday.
People.
Got a fucking legacy.
You dumb motherfucker.
Fuck you, bitch.
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you.
Ah.